So this is Harry Wade Road. This is the southern exit from Death Valley. Hundreds of years ago, the people who actually named it Death Valley, a group of Mormons, came through, and this was how they escaped. The modern exit route is way up there on a paved road that goes over a mountain pass. But we're going to go up this road a ways, see some things out here. And this is kind of interesting. This is usually one of the most remote entry points, and there's usually nobody out here at all. Here we are, April 9th. There is a huge mob scene going on here because some sort of law enforcement group race. You can see they're backing up traffic all the way down the road. I guess we came at the right time because we weren't backed up for very long. So this race is a Baker to Vegas race. That is crazy. That's a long ways across the desert. And all the participants are from various law enforcement agencies. We're seeing Homeland Security, various police departments from California and Nevada. Anyway, we're headed out this way. Let's see where we can get. We're not going to actually take the exit route all the way into Death Valley. There is a turnoff we're going to take. As you can see, we are in some wide open desert here on the east side of Death Valley. Oh, and there goes some more runners. Some people running up the highway. All right, let's get on the road. So far, very nice. A little bit windy here, but not too bad. It's supposed to be real windy in other parts of the desert. Kind of interesting about this entry, everything off of the road is Death Valley National Park, but the road itself is a county road, and that's all a different kind of wilderness over there. So you can actually ride dirt bikes through this part up until a point. We'll show you that point when we cross into the park. A little after 10 a.m., it's around 85. It's going to be mid-90s today. A lot of blown sand up on that one. Talc mines in the Ibex Hills in the distance. Sorry about the car noise, but it's running behind me. Some stripy mountains. You can kind of see the underground Amargosa. Look at that green out there. That's from the river running underground out there. We are out in the empty now. Sorry the view's not a little better. There's a lot of dust in the air, but so be it. Still so beautiful. And the Ibex Dunes. The road to them is really sandy. There are ways. There's somewhere I could turn off. There's actually a spring somewhere out there. There's like tiny lake, Saratoga Springs. And I believe if you take the road to there, and then it's a walk that we could do. But really, to drive to them, you need serious 4x4 because it's a very sandy road. But hey, seeing them is good enough for me, especially like this. I think they're 3 or 4, maybe 5 miles away. Ibex Dunes. So yeah, those are the Ibex Hills. Lots of talc mines out there. Ibex Springs at the bottom. And this is another treat Roxana in particular noticed. These mountains, it's almost like being in Butte Valley where they have the striped butte. It's obviously very similar geology. You can see a lot of striped rocks throughout Death Valley, you know, striped mountains, but these in particular. Yeah, the dust makes for a little bit of a hazy view, but you can see some very dramatic stripes on these mountains. Ibex Dunes. Ibex Hills. Talc mine, that white spot there is where talc mines were, and down at the bottom of the hills is Ibex Springs. You can't really see it here, but if you're a little closer, there's a bunch of palm trees in a small town over there. And there is the sign. We are entering Death Valley National Park. No more dirt bikes allowed. And a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. The road is in surprisingly good shape. Very dusty view of them, but those are buckwheat dunes. Way out there. A little bit of flowers on the creosote here. Big views. Yeah, buckwheat dunes over here. Ibex dunes back there. Saratoga Spring would be somewhere in there. It's a little pond somewhere. For some reason, I'm more interested in the trickles than the ponds. And Ibex Hills, anywhere you can see these white areas is probably talc mines. Like all of those. And that. Old talc mines. We're in Death Valley still. So again, a little hazy, but you can see these mountains here. That nothing, that's Death Valley. This is your Harry Wade exit route, which comes up that way. In this case, it would be the Harry Wade entrance route. It goes up that way, and that's where the low point is.
We're at about 150 feet above sea level here.
Way out there is, we're at the south end of Death Valley. Out there is a lot of nothing. Light breeze, quiet, 90s. So that is Harry Wade Road going back up into Death Valley proper and towards all the tourist attractions and the paved road. And this is the way we're going. I don't know how far we're going to get. People keep telling me I should be able to make it, but I don't know about that. I guess we'll find out. We're prepared with boards and all that kind of stuff to turn around and back out even if we get stuck, shovels, whatever we need. So, and I'm going to take it super slow, and we'll see how far we get. Quiet, empty desert. I don't know, I think we're like 15 miles or so in. We haven't seen anybody. No one out here. You know how it is. We're here because you are not.
This road has been graded so many times where it's like we're down in a little canyon here. We got lucky. The military uses this road fairly often, so they grade it once in a while, and it must have been recent because it's really smooth right now. There's some burro manure. You might make out some burro tracks going up the side of the road in places. Ahead and to the left is Fort Irwin, and we're going to pass by one of their gates in a few minutes. And the road will start getting rougher. But that sign at the turnoff said deep sand in 5 miles, and we've gone at least 7 or 8 by now. It was misleadingly comforting.
So we're going up that way. It's kind of crazy because you're coming up the road and all you see is this dead end until the very last second you see you can turn off. We do not want to go in there. Everyone's favorite thing to get a video of, the weird container somewhere out there. That is one big military target range. Coming up that was crazy. There was just a lot of gravel. I'll get a shot of it on the way down. I just had to go and try and not get stuck. And so here's the way we're headed. Doesn't look too bad, at least. Yeah, not so rough and not gravelly or sandy.
Not yet, anyway. We're still in the park, but we're not in Death Valley proper. We're in the Owlshead Mountains now. I didn't think this part was too terrible, but
I thought it was really bad.
There were a few deep ruts, and I had to go really slow. I took this one photo at the bottom here, and then shortly after that, the road just disappeared. As we drop down into the canyon, the road's going to keep getting narrower, and the edges are going to keep getting softer.
The tracks were super deep, and they just kept going.
It was so crazy I didn't even think to get photos or video. I did borrow this picture from Death Valley Dazed, but that's not really doing it justice. So as you can see here, we did make it through. We got our look at Owl Lake. Lost Lake, another 5 miles down the road, is going to have to remain lost for now, but we did get a look at Owl Lake. Between the dry lake, the sparse vegetation, and this weird dark soil, it is something else out here. But let's go back to that photo for a moment. You can see here that it's all gravel, but it just got so much worse. The ruts kept getting deeper, and then, my truck is not that high off the ground, so I'm hitting rocks underneath. Alternate routes are crisscrossing. It was just, I had to make split-second decisions about which way to go. You can see here on the satellite picture, I'm just driving through a wash or a dry river of gravel.
There was no road, there was only tracks.
Now, any four-wheel drive vehicle would have no trouble, and even most two-wheel drives with bigger tires probably wouldn't have that much trouble. But I'm in a little two-wheel drive. People had told me, oh, it won't be too bad, but I think they were picturing me with bigger tires. If I stop in here, I'm not going to be able to move again. It's just too soft. You know, if you've ever taken a two-wheel drive through soft sand or gravel, it's like you can make it, but you can't stop because you'll start spinning your tires really easily and get buried. So I had to just push through as fast as I can, try not to hit anything, and we did just barely make it, but we took some rocks really hard. All the four-wheel drive people are just laughing at me because this is like nothing if you have a four-wheel drive, but no, it was not easy in a two-wheel drive. So yeah, we get through, we're out here looking at the lake, and now the truck is just making a crazy noise. It turns out just a rock had hit the exhaust and moved things around a little bit, so things are rubbing or whatever, but I am not sure if it's my transmission or what. The wind is howling, it's like 95 degrees out here, and now I have to worry I might get stuck going back through this sandy craziness again. Man, I don't know what this noise the truck is making is going to turn into. Fortunately, it turned out to be nothing, but we were so nervous we just turned around and got out of here as quick as we could.
It was really rough and gravelly. I'm more than a little nervous about getting back, so we're not going to go to the second lake. We're just going to go a little farther and turn around and start heading back. Let's hope we make it out of here.
Fort Irwin, huge and empty out in the distance. We made it back up to this firmer ground, and the wind is really raging up here. We'll find out later that Central Death Valley is having a huge sandstorm today.
Burro trail out there.
Nobody out here for miles. Everything to the right is Fort Irwin, and the populated part of the fort is like 20 miles away. The truck's still making a weird noise, but we're at least relaxed enough to remember to get some video of this part. It's sandy, but it doesn't seem like much compared to what we just dealt with. Seems pretty easy to deal with now.
This part isn't even in the same league with the other portion where the road just disappeared.
Yeah, this is still a road. That was just ruts in gravel. We did air down, and I think having pressure out of the back tires really helped save us get through all that gravel. And it's driving fine. The noise is obviously not part of the drivetrain, but still, I'm better safe than sorry. I'm glad we came back right away. And look who's at the spring.
Yep, there's a burro. Owlshead Spring is right over here. Yeah, the burros are out here. We're actually planning on maybe hanging out and walking around a little, so we'll see what the burro does first.
The burro disappeared quickly, so we took a little walk around. There used to be a mine here of some kind. I don't know what it was. I don't know if that tree died of old age or what. Some photos from a few years ago show it alive. This is Owlshead Spring. There's not much here. There's more stuff uphill, I hear, but we're just going to take a look at the little water here. Super windy.
Well, the park boundary is just over there at those signs, and we found this nice wide spot in the road and set up the shade, just hanging out. Got a beautiful view of Ibex Dunes out there.
Death Valley is a little more defined out in the distance. The mountains on the left were obscured earlier. We'll get an even better look shortly.
Pretty windy, so we'll keep this up until it cools off a little. It's in the low 100s, around 105. And we'll probably just set up a tent right here. We saw one car pass by. We are on the main Harry Wade Road that goes into Death Valley National Park. There was nobody after that turnoff. But one person, just before we pulled up here, actually, we were parked about a mile up the road, and somebody drove by. That's all the people we've seen. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We've been out here since 10 a.m. Well, just us. It's beautiful. And the highway is, I don't know, 10 miles that way, 15 at the most.
It will be windy for a little while longer, but it's not that bad, and there's no sand blowing around. We're going to find out later that up in the main part of Death Valley, they had a very, very windy, sandstormy weekend. We're going to enjoy these nice views of the dunes as the sun goes down. We're just so happy to relax here and glad we didn't spend any time digging the truck out of a hole today because that sand was crazy. We're so glad we made it through. I heard the wind kept going until Monday up in Death Valley, but here, as the sun goes down, the winds will die down. We'll see some vehicles head towards the dunes later in the night, and early in the morning a few will drive by us, but very, very few. Looking north into Death Valley, we can really see the mountains on the left now. They're completely obscured in the morning. All right, thanks for coming with us, and I will leave you with one more shot of the dunes, and check out just how quiet it was in the morning. I'll give you a panorama of camp. So quiet.